that whole federal election thing was just 1 year ago yesterday. Back then, there were a whole bunch of new MPs descending on Parliament Hill in the weeks after, and the largest number of rookie MPs actually elected since 1993. Now, a year later, those same MPs aren't quite so new to the job. So what have they learned? What have been the hardest parts of adjusting to life in politics? Joining me now, three former rookie MPs, no longer rookies really. Liberal MP Pamela Goldsmith-Jones, Conservative MP Karen Vecchio, and the NDP's Tracey Ramsey. Good to see you all. You're new-ish now. The sheen is off a little bit. Let's just start about what's been the biggest surprise. You've been doing it for a year. There's some things I'm sure you had to work out, personal things, professional things. What's been the biggest surprise for you, Tracey?
Just how much you have to learn, like not just the procedure of the House, but learn about each other, learn about, I sit on a committee, so learning about that,
sure.
Learning about how you can help your constituents, how many issues people have in our ridings. I was surprised how many people need help with immigration in my riding of Essex. So learning about that and how we can help them, the connections we can make. It's been equated to drinking from a fire hose, and I think that's a fair estimation for all of us. But, for me, it was a wonderful, challenging year, and every day continues to be.
Well, you really make it sound like a dream job, I gotta say. How about you, Karen?
Well, I came from the constituency life, and the one thing that I did find is they don't teach new MPs what happens at the constituency. So going off of what Tracey said, you are going in there blind. I felt pretty comfortable going in from that, but that you are going in blind. So I came on the legislative side. But for me, I think the biggest change has basically been at home. I'm the girl that, you come to my house, I'm wearing pajamas, and we now have a pizza delivery guy that goes, "Oh, you're Karen Vecchio, our MP." And I'm in my pajamas because I'm not Karen that just lives on my street. I'm now somebody else. So that's a little bit different for me, getting used to that, just not being Karen anymore.
Yeah. Pamela, how about you?
One of the biggest surprises is the amazing 338 people that Canadians elected. You ask someone, "Oh, what brought you here?" "Well, I was an emergency room doctor." "Really?" Or "I was a law professor at the U of T." It is remarkable. And I think that we're all products of Canada's great investment in public education. And I am continually blown away by the talent in the House of Commons.
You have I don't know if it's slightly more demands, you guys can judge, but you are the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So how have you found that juggle between, also you're in BC, right? So you have to go back and forth. That's a lot to manage.
It has been. I'm grateful my children have grown up and moved out, so that makes a big difference in the Liberal caucus anyway. 50% of MPs have children under 15. And so they need our support. So I don't have that anymore. But it's been such an honor to serve Minister Dion in Foreign Affairs. And to Tracey's point, the learning curve has been really facilitated by incredible staff and colleagues. The amount of work that MPs take on personally, their own personal reading, beyond what they're sort of given. Their own ability to write speeches. We do support one another and hone one another in a way that is much more deep and rich than you see in the House of Commons.
Absolutely.
Question period.
Absolutely.
What about being in opposition for you two ladies? Is that, it obviously wasn't the goal. You wanted to be in government, but you're in opposition. Have you found that to be actually a good place to start to learn things rather than being plunged right into it?
I'd have to say absolutely. I know for myself, when I'm writing speeches, just like you said, I think many of us write the speeches. And for myself, I like to have Karenisms. I like to make sure that my speech sounds like who I am, so that you're bringing to the table and you're bringing to the House who you are and what your values are and the values for your own riding. So I think the opposition has been a great place to start because you're really doing research. You're not given different things sometimes, and you're looking at it from different viewpoints too. So I think that's a really great way of learning. I always look at the 360 approach. And this is, I think, being on opposition, you really get that opportunity to do that as well.
Yeah, Tracey?
Yeah, we get to be critical. We get to actually be the voice of Canadians.
It's so much fun.
It's great. Complaining is so fun.
It's not complaining, but we get to represent the voices of a lot of Canadians who are frustrated with things the government is doing. So we get to voice that. We get to stand up and be that voice for them. And I think that a lot of Canadians connect to that when they hear their question being asked, when they hear something that matters to them being brought up in a speech. It's important for them to have that perspective be brought forward. And for me, in the NDP Caucus, it's so incredibly collaborative. I've really enjoyed that process, our legislative process, the way that we, look at everything, not just through a lens of our riding, but through the way that we look at things in terms of social justice. So, being in opposition, we get to bring forward all of our progressive ideas and work with the government at times in the opposition, the official opposition, to bring them forward.
It sounds so wonderful listening to you all. Just such a magical job. There must be something that sucks. Like, there must be something where you just are, after a year, you're like, oh, this is not the best thing.
Missing your family, being away from home.
And your friends.
I have 2 teenage boys. They're 15 and 13. So being away when, they're playing their first football game, missing those kind of things, it's tough.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, it really shows them like what can happen, what you can do. And so, we're a great example to all of our children, to Pam's point, all of us that have kids. I think there are more in this parliament than ever. When someone's really highly partisan, there are a lot of folks that sit in the House with us that I think are still stuck in campaign mode sometimes.
Yes.
And when we can't crack that and work together, it becomes obstructive and frustrating.
The challenge for me has been leaving my family. I have 5 kids.
You have 5 kids?
I know.
Wow.
That's the challenge in itself.
Yeah.
So I have my 5 kids. My parents they'd hate to hear this, but they are getting older. So knowing that I'm not with them every day and not just around the corner to go and see to make sure everybody's good and okay, I think that's been the biggest challenge for myself, is leaving that mom thing.
Yeah.
Now, my husband's been fantastic, but at the same time, I'm that Mother Hubbard. I'm that person that wants to be there with my kids and watch them play their first volleyball game and things like that. So I try to make sure, and this is my biggest thing, is when I come home back here on Mondays, I'm exhausted because I have made sure that every minute of the day is used. If I'm baking cookies and then I'm going out to an event and then I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I think that's been the biggest challenge. But at the same time, I'm really learning the work-life balance a lot better now too.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. For me, I would also say, and this is political, it's such a great opportunity to bring a little bit of British Columbia to Ottawa.
Yeah.
So the travel is the travel, that's fine. But the ethic, the ideas, as we get into pricing carbon pollution, for instance, or marine protection, these are things that are really important and taken as a given in that part of the country. And I think that there's a tremendous opportunity for all Canadians to benefit by that. So making sure that that is front and center is a challenge.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased with the progress.
I like how I said, what's something that sucks, and you all gave me challenges. Yeah. You're good politicians. All right. Ladies, congratulations on 1 year. You've got lots more to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rosie.
Thank you.
And to both of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, ladies.
Thanks.